I'd always thought of myself as someone who notices things. Small details, shifts in mood. The way a room feels different when something's off. So when Amanda started changing, I saw it, even if I didn't want to admit what it meant. It wasn't one big moment that tipped me off. It was a slow drip of little things, each one piling onto the last until I couldn't ignore it anymore. It started with the showers. Amanda had always been quick in the bathroom, 10 minutes, maybe 15 if she was washing her hair. But over a few months those showers stretched longer and longer. I'd hear the water running for half an hour, sometimes more, and when she'd come out, her eyes would avoid mine. She'd wrap herself in a towel, mumble something about being tired, and slip into bed with her back to me. At first I thought she was just stressed. Her job at the marketing firm had been demanding lately, with late nights and tight deadlines. I told myself she needed time to unwind, that the long showers were her way of decompressing. But deep down I knew it wasn't just that. Then there was her phone. Amanda used to leave it on the kitchen counter or toss it onto the couch without a second thought. We'd never been the kind of couple who snooped through each other's messages. It wasn't our style. But suddenly her phone was always with her, clutched in her hand or tucked into her pocket. If I walked into the room while she was texting, she'd tilt the screen away or lock it quickly, her fingers moving too fast for it to feel casual. Once when I asked who she was talking to, she laughed it off and said it was just a coworker, but her voice had this edge to it like she was daring me to push harder. I didn't. I wish I had. The worst part though was how she stopped touching me. Amanda had always been affectionate, her hand on my arm when we talked, her head on my shoulder during movie nights. It wasn't anything dramatic, just the quiet intimacy of two people who'd been together for 8 years, married for 5. But that warmth faded. When I reached for her hand, she'd pull away, pretending to adjust her hair or grab something from the table. In bed, she'd stay on her side, curled up like she was protecting herself from me. I tried to tell myself it was normal, that every marriage goes through dry spells. But lying next to her at night, feeling the cold space between us, I knew it was more than that. I tried to talk to her about it, but Amanda had a way of shutting things down. "I'm fine, Jason," she'd say, her voice sharp enough to cut off any follow-up. Or she'd turn it back on me, asking why I was being so paranoid, making me feel like I was the one creating problems. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that the woman I'd loved since we met at a friend's barbecue, her laughing over a spilled beer, her hair catching the summer light, was still the same person. But the doubt kept growing like a crack in a windshield that spreads until you can't see clearly anymore. One night I couldn't take it anymore. Amanda was at a work event, or so she'd said, and I was home alone, the house too quiet. I poured myself a glass of whiskey and opened my laptop, not sure what I was looking for but knowing I needed answers. I don't know what made me think of it. Maybe it was a conversation I'd overheard at work about dating apps, but I ended up on a site called ConnectSphere, one of those platforms for discrete connections. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that there was no way Amanda would be on something like that. But then I saw her. Her profile was careful, no clear photos of her face, but I knew it was her. The way she described herself, adventurous, looking for a spark, matched the woman I'd married, but the details were all wrong. She listed herself as single, no kids, interested in casual fun. My stomach twisted as I read her bio, the words blurring together. I sat there for a long time, the whiskey untouched, feeling like the ground had dropped out from under me. I didn't confront her right away. I couldn't. Part of me still hoped I was wrong, that there was some explanation I hadn't thought of. But I needed to know more, so I did something I'm not proud of. I made a fake profile. I called myself Mark, used a generic photo from the internet, and crafted a persona that sounded like the kind of guy Amanda might respond to. Confident, charming, someone who promised excitement. I messaged her, keeping it light, and to my horror, she replied almost immediately. Over the next few weeks, I talked to Amanda as Mark. It was surreal, watching her open up to this stranger in ways she hadn't with me in months. She told Mark things she'd never said to me. How she felt trapped in her routine. How she craved something new. Something that made her feel alive. She called her husband, me, predictable. Said I was a good guy but too safe, too boring. Each message was like a knife, cutting deeper every time. She didn't know it was me, but that only made it worse. She was so honest with Mark, so unguarded, while I got lies and half-truths. I learned she'd been seeing someone, a guy named Ethan she'd met through the app. She described him as spontaneous, passionate, everything she thought I wasn't. They'd been meeting up for weeks. Hotel rooms, late-night drives, stolen moments when she told me she was with friends or stuck at the office. The details were excruciating, but I kept reading, kept asking questions, building a case against her in my mind. I don't know why I didn't stop. Maybe I thought the truth would hurt less if I had all of it. Finally, I couldn't keep pretending. I had enough screenshots, messages, dates and times that lined up with her excuses. I decided to catch her in the act, to see it for myself so there'd be no way for her to lie her way out. I told her I had to leave early for work one Friday, a lie to make her think she had the house to herself. I kissed her goodbye, hating how natural it felt, and drove around the block before parking down the street. Then I waited. Around 7, a car pulled into our driveway. A sleek black sedan I didn't recognize. A man got out, tall, with the kind of easy confidence I'd never had. I watched him walk to our front door, watched Amanda let him in, her smile brighter than I'd seen in months. I gave it a few minutes, then slipped into the house through the garage, quiet as I could. The living room was dim, candles flickering on the coffee table, a bottle of wine open. I heard music, soft and slow, and then her laugh, the one that used to be mine. I stepped into the kitchen and saw them. Amanda was in a black dress, her hair loose, her hand on his arm as they talked, too close for it to be anything innocent. The air felt thick, like I was moving through water. I cleared my throat and they both froze. Amanda's face went pale, her eyes wide as she realized I wasn't supposed to be there. "Jason," she stammered, stepping back from Ethan. What are you doing here?" I didn't yell. I thought I would, but when the moment came I felt calm, like I'd already grieved what we had. "I know, Amanda," I said, pulling out my phone to show her the screenshots. "I've known for a while." Ethan looked confused, then uncomfortable, muttering something about leaving and grabbing his jacket. I didn't stop him. This wasn't about him, he was just a symptom, not the disease. Amanda tried to explain, her words tripping over each other, but I held up a hand to stop her. I reached into my bag and pulled out the divorce papers I'd had drawn up that week. I set them on the counter right next to the wine. "I'm done," I said, my voice steady. "Sign these when you're ready." She didn't say anything, just stared at the papers like they were a bomb about to go off. I walked out, got in my car and drove to a hotel. I didn't cry. I didn't feel much of anything, just a hollow kind of relief, like I'd finally let go of something I'd been carrying too long. The months that followed were strange. Amanda moved out, signing the papers without a fight. I heard through mutual friends that she was struggling, living alone in a small apartment, spending too much time online, trying to fill the emptiness. Part of me felt sorry for her, but not enough to reach out. She'd made her choices, and I wasn't responsible for fixing her anymore. I focused on myself instead. I reconnected with old friends, guys I hadn't seen much since Amanda and I got serious. We'd grab beers, watch games, talk about nothing important, and it felt good, like waking up after a long sleep. I started running again, something I'd let slide during the marriage, and the rhythm of it, feet on pavement, breath steady, helped clear my head. About a year later I met Brooke. It wasn't anything dramatic, just a conversation at a coffee shop that turned into lunch, then dinner, then more. She was different from Amanda, quieter, steadier, with a laugh that made me want to hear it again. She didn't need me to be anything but myself, and for the first time in a long time I felt like that was enough. We took things slow, but every moment with her felt real. No shadows lurking behind her smile. I don't know what Amanda's doing now. I don't check her social media or ask about her. But I heard she's still single, still chasing something she can't quite name. I hope she figures it out someday, but I'm not holding my breath. As for me, I'm happy. Not the loud, showy kind, but the quiet sort that settles in your bones. I didn't see it coming, not after everything, but life has a way of surprising you like that.